We begin with Israel today. Israeli Knesset, Israel's parliament, voted to dissolve itself and scheduled an election for March the 17th. Now, this formally ends Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government after less than 2 years in office. I spoke with member of the Knesset and the country's economic minister, Naftali Bennett, about Israel's upcoming election.
Israeli politics right now is a bit fragmented. It used to be 2 big parties, and now we've got about 5 or 6 medium-sized parties. So it's hard to tell what's going to be. And
yeah, but you're the head of the Jewish Home.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So how many seats now, and how many seats do you think you're going to win in March?
Well, right now we have 12 seats,
right,
which is 10. Well, there's 120 seats in the Israeli Knesset. We have 12. We're the 3rd largest party in the government. The polls currently project 3 months before the elections that we're going to hover around 16 seats, 17, which would make us the 2nd largest party after the Likud. But it's anyone's guess. I think there's a likelihood that the outcome would be a national government, with Likud and us as the bigger players.
All right, so if that happens,
sort of a right-wing government.
All right, so more right-wing leading than it is now.
I believe so, because the Israeli public has moved rightward over the past year, even dramatically, I might say, because of the summer conflict in Gaza. Because the Israelis saw the following: we gave up Gaza, handed it over to the Palestinians, pulled back to the 67 lines, and they shot tens of thousands of missiles at us from the very land we gave them. So the Israeli public says we're not into giving up land anymore, and because of that, we've seen this dramatic movement rightward.
All right, let's assume that you get these additional seats. Let's say you go up to maybe 18, 16, 18 seats. All right, sure. So you have this right-leaning government
right.
in March. What does that do to the Palestinian-Israeli ongoing conflict? Anything?
I think everyone in the region understands we're not going to reach peace agreements in the next 20 years. No one reasonable, right or left, thinks that that's in the cards anymore, because it's just not working out, and because primarily there's this big radical Islamic wave that's pouring all over the region. ISIS in Iraq, Syria disintegrating, Egypt with the revolution and the counter-revolution. We're in a storm. And Israel is sort of a lighthouse in this storm, a lighthouse of democracy, of a good economy, a startup nation, but it's tough. And the way to stay in this very tough region is to be strong, not to concede land, but to be tough. There's no other way if you want to survive. So what I think we need to do vis-a-vis the Palestinians is create a Middle East economic Marshall Plan, right? Invest dramatically in improving the lives of Arabs and Israelis alike. Better infrastructure, common businesses and shared businesses, jobs.
Yeah, but doesn't that all take money? Where's the money going to come from? You're still trying to pay for the cost of ongoing security needs and also the war in Gaza.
We've got the money. The world has the money. It's just funneling to the wrong place, and we're all wasting time on futile diplomatic efforts to something that we can't achieve, which is that agreement. Everyone, the prize is the agreement, the Holy Grail. No, the Holy Grail are the people on ground, the Arabs and Israelis who are destined to live side by side. Want it or not, we're all here to stay. So my approach is, instead of futzing around something we can't solve, let's focus on improving lives for the actual people. And if it were up to me, a Middle East economic Marshall Plan.
Let me throw you a couple topics, get your reaction.
Sure.
Iran, nuclear weapons.
We have to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. At the core of the disagreement right now between Israel and some of the parties in the West is the following. Do we allow them to retain the machine that produces nuclear weapons, or do we dismantle it? We think that we have to dismantle. They should not have one centrifuge in Iran. There's many countries that have nuclear energy, like Canada, like Spain, like Switzerland, but they don't have centrifuges. You don't need to enrich uranium in order to have nuclear energy. We have to dismantle this. The other side says, no, we can just have them press the pause button on the machine, that's good enough. But it's not. We have to take the whole machine away, otherwise they'll break out and have a nuclear weapon. If Iran gets a nuclear weapon, it means the Middle East that will turn into a nuclear nightmare. It means everyone's going to want a nuclear weapon. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey. We're going to have the worst nuclear proliferation that we've ever had in the world in the nuttiest region of the world. That's why we got to stand tough. The sanctions are working. You know what you do when something succeeds? You strengthen it. We have to clamp down on even stronger sanctions, and that will prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Otherwise, we'll have to deal it in other means. Israel's economy is very strong. Israel is all about innovation in water technologies, alternative energy, food and agriculture. We're generating fruit and vegetables in China and India. We're saving millions of lives all around the world using Israeli technologies. So Israel is a powerhouse, and it's looking very positive.
Any chance that Naftali Bennett becomes the next prime minister?
I'm focused on helping to lead Israel towards the vision I believe in, which is a lighthouse in this big storm in the Middle East.
People want to get to know you a little bit better. What's your favorite book right now?
Oh, there's a gazillion good books. There's a very good book called Anti-Fragile by Nissim Taleb regarding risk. That's a book I read lately.
Who is your hero in politics?
In leadership, I have two heroes. King David 3,000 years ago, who founded the first Jewish commonwealth in Israel, the kingdom, and David Ben-Gurion, who had the courage to make very, very tough decisions, sometimes against the will of the rest of the world, but he did the right thing.
Israel's economy minister, Naftali Bennett.